Hello and welcome to Extra Innings, everybody. I am your host, Van Noland. Alongside me tonight is Owen Noland, as usual. We have a off-season edition of Extra Innings, as we are now getting ready to get into a lot of re-signing moves for the off-season period, and free agency will start here. Actually, it's already started, theoretically, but not a lot has happened. So we do also have awards to announce. But we're going to start with some news from around Major League Baseball. We're going to start with a managerial move made by the Texas Rangers, who hired Chris Woodward to be their next manager. Chris Woodward was previously the Dodgers' third base coach. He played in the MLB at third base for 12 seasons with the Blue Jays and the Mets. The Dodgers extended the contract of Clayton Kershaw, one of the greatest pitchers of our generation, of this current generation. The deal was for 3 years and $93 million. So it added a year to his current contract, which was 2 years, but all the big deal of the extension is that some people thought he would opt out of the contract. He had an opt-out clause after this year. So he was deciding between opting out and becoming a free agent or re-signing with the Dodgers. So now he is re-signed through 2021. So I'm sure this makes many Dodgers fans happy. The Yankees re-signed two important players to their wild card berth this year. They re-signed Brett Gardner and CC Sabathia. CC Sabathia has been re-signed to a one-year deal, and so has Brett Gardner. And we have a bit of injury news. Lance McCullers Jr. is going to miss the entire 2019 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. In 2018, he had a 3.86 ERA in 22 starts. He was an all-star in 2017, and he pitched well last year, but it just wasn't to the all-star level, but still good enough for the Astros. But the Tommy John surgery now puts him on the shelf for all of next season, which means the Astros will probably be looking for another starting pitcher some way. So that will be interesting. Obviously, they already do have four pretty good starters: Keuchel, Verlander, Cole, and Morton. Actually, Keuchel and Morton are free agents. So the Astros are going to have a little work to do if they're going to get the starting rotation back to the way it was last year and even in 2017. We also have a developing trade. Nothing is finalized yet, but the Rays are going to acquire catcher Mike Zunino from the Seattle Mariners in exchange for outfielder Malik Smith. Smith, a top prospect in the Rays organization at one time. Mike Zunino, one of the best defensive catchers in the American League. And Guillermo Heredia would also be going from the Mariners to the Tampa Bay Rays in this trade. Guillermo Heredia is an outfielder. So that would be quite the interesting trade. Oh, and you actually have a interesting story about Malik Smith, who would be going from the Rays to the Mariners.
Yes, if this deal goes through, center fielder Malik Smith would be headed
back to the Seattle Mariners. He was a member of the Seattle Mariners for a grand total of 77 minutes. In January of 2017, the Mariners acquired him in a trade and then flipped him right away to the Tampa Bay Rays. In that trade, the Mariners acquired Drew Smyly, who is now on the Cubs. But Mallex Smith, once a member of the Seattle Mariners, although he never appeared in a game for the Seattle Mariners. He was only a member for a little over an hour before they decided to trade him to Tampa Bay. Now they might want him back if this deal goes through. Interesting, to say the least, with this trade. Yes, that is all the news I have for you guys for this episode. So that means we are going to get into the 2018 Gold Glove Award winners. They were announced earlier in the week. We will go position by position. So let's start with the pitcher. The American League winner was Dallas Keuchel. He won his fourth in the past 5 years. He tied for second among AL pitchers with 3 defensive runs saved this past season. The runner-up for the awards for the American League pitcher was Corey Kluber, and Masahiro Tanaka finished third. Now on to the National League. I noticed a lot of the National League Gold Glove winners, at least a handful of them, were repeats or had won it multiple times, as a matter of fact. This is the case for Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Greinke. This is his 5th consecutive award. He had 7 defensive runs saved in the 2018 season. How do you have a defensive run saved as a pitcher? Well, like, is a strikeout with a runner on third considered a defensive run saved? You probably throw a player out of home on maybe a suicide squeeze or something. I want to know how they measure this, because I shouldn't say everybody, most people around the game realize that defensive metrics are far from perfect in analyzing a defensive player's ability. And defensive run saved is one of those not so perfect statistics. I'd like to know how they come up with a defensive run saved for a pitcher. I'll have to do some research on that and get back to you guys. And in the meantime, I'll let Ben continue with his Gold Glove. Winners. Yes. The catcher awards went to Salvador Perez in the American League and Yadier Molina in the National League. This was the 5th time in the past 6 seasons that Salvador Perez has won the Gold Glove. He did this by throwing out 48% of base stealers, which is an incredibly high amount for any catcher. So definitely deserving of the award. Yan Gomes and Martin Maldonado finished 2nd and 3rd. Now in the National League, I already mentioned it was Yadier Molina. 2 consecutive years where a Molina did not win the Gold Glove award. But this is Yadier's 9th total Gold Glove award. He won 8 consecutive awards from 2006 to 2015. Buster Posey finished 2nd, no real surprise. And Manny Pena of Milwaukee finished 3rd. Definitely a really good defensive catcher. Got to show his arm off in the playoffs. So he was really impressive. He's a catcher you could see win a lot more Gold Glove awards in the maybe near future. At the first base position, the American League winner was Matt Olson. This is his first career Gold Glove, as it was his first full major league season. He led first baseman with 14 defensive runs saved. The runners-up for the American League Award were Mitch Moreland of the Red Sox and Justin Smoak of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the National League first base position was very interesting. They could not distinguish a true winner, so we had a tie. Freddie Freeman and Anthony Rizzo tied for the award. This is just the fourth time in history a Gold Glove award has ended in a tie.
Do they split the Gold Glove in half, or do they each get their own Gold Glove?
I would imagine they each get their own.
I would hope so.
Own trophy. But Freeman was second in the NL with 12 defensive runs saved, one behind Brandon Belt, who is actually not even in the top 3 of this award. So that gives you a little context on the defensive runs saved stat. It's the stat that they use a lot in this MLB.com article, but it is far from perfect and it is far from the be-all, end-all. The runner-up was actually Joey Votto. They only gave one runner-up, I guess, because they gave 2 first-place awards, so which would make sense if there were 3 finalists. At second base in the American League, the winner was Ian Kinsler. This is his second career Gold Glove, the other coming in 2016 when he was a member of the Detroit Tigers. Jed Lowry of the Oakland Athletics finished second, and Rignan Odor, who I previously mentioned, finished third at the second base position in the American League. The National League winner was none other than the Rockies' DJ LeMahieu. This was his second consecutive Gold Glove award, his third overall. He had a career-high 18 defensive runs saved. The runner-up for the second base award was the St. Louis Cardinals' Colton Wong, and in third place was Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs. The American League shortstop Gold Glove winner was Andrelton Simmons. No real surprise, although he did have a lot of competition, and Andrelton Simmons has always been a very defensive-minded shortstop and one of the better defenders at his position. He had 21 defensive runs saved, far and away the best among other American League shortstops. The runners-up for the award were Francisco Lindor of the Cleveland Indians and Marcus Semien of the Oakland Athletics. Marcus Semien, the guy maybe 3 years ago, you would never have guessed he would be on the Gold Glove watch list as he committed the most errors at the shortstop position, but quite the turnaround for that young man. The National League winner, I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit surprised by this one. Nick Ahmed of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Not that he's not deserving of the award, and I definitely give him a lot of credit for working hard and winning the award, but he beat out Brandon Crawford and Freddie Galvis. Crawford, of course, plays for the Giants, a bigger market. Nick Ahmed is overshadowed by maybe a poor down Diamondbacks year and maybe Paul Goldschmidt, but definitely deserving of the award. He had 21 defensive runs saved, just like Andrelton Simmons, so a very good year for the Arizona Diamondbacks shortstop Nick Ahmed. At third base, the Gold Glove Award winners are both from the same high school. The American League winner was the Oakland Athletics' Matt Chapman. This was his rookie year, so it was his first Gold Glove award. He had some very, very good plays at third base throughout the entire year. He has emerged as one of not only the best defensive third basemen, but one of the best all-around third basemen in baseball. as he helped the Oakland Athletics reach the wild card game this year. The runners-up for the award were Alex Bregman and Jose Ramirez. The National League winner was Rockies' Nolan Arenado. This was not surprising to a lot of people. He has won the award every season he has been in the majors, which is now 6 of them. So Arenado still reigns supreme as the third baseman in the majors. The runners-up were Anthony Rendon of the Nationals and Travis Shaw of the Milwaukee Brewers. I am going to let you, Owen, do the outfielders' Outfield Gold Glove Awards.
All right, starting in left field in the American League, Alex Gordon of the Kansas City Royals, taking home his 6th Gold Glove award. It's his 2nd straight year that he's won the Gold Glove. He also won the Gold Glove in consecutive seasons from 2011 to 2014. The runners-up for the award were New York Yankees left fielder Brett Gardner and Boston Red Sox left fielder Andrew Benintendi. In the National League, this was very surprising to me just because I watched him as a Colorado Rocky and he was not that great defensively. It's Corey Dickerson of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Won the Gold Glove in left field. Crazy. It's his first career Gold Glove. It was also his first year with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was second in the NL to only Red Adam Duvall in defensive runs saved, among left fielders with 16. And the runners-up in the award were Adam Duvall and Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. And now my alarm is going off in the background. Oh, this is just great. We will ignore that. Maybe you could go turn that off real quick, man, so that our poor listeners don't have to listen to that. Don't ask me why our alarm is going off at 9:17 at night. I have no idea. Moving on to the show, getting back to baseball, which is what you all care about anyways. In center field in the American League, Jackie Bradley Jr. won the Gold Glove in the American League. It was his first career Gold Glove. Kind of surprising to me that he hadn't won one before, just because he's been a very good defensive center fielder for a number of years now. Runners-up in the award, Angels outfielder Mike Trout and Chicago White Sox outfielder Adam Engel. The National League winner for center field was Atlanta Braves center fielder Ender Enciarte. He's now won 3 consecutive Gold Gloves in center field in the National League. And he had 17 defensive runs saved in center field. The runners-up for the award were Lorenzo Cain in Milwaukee and Billy Hamilton in Cincinnati. So it looks like the Reds and Brewers have 2 very good outfielders, at least in terms of Gold Glove. Both their left and center fielders finished as runners-up in the award. In right field, we've got another Boston Red Sox taking home the award. It's Mookie Betts of the I just said Boston Red Sox. So obviously he plays for the Red Sox. It was his 3rd straight Gold Glove in right field for the Boston outfielder, and he was tied for 2nd among all Major League outfielders with 20 defensive runs saved. Runners-up in right field were Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees and Cole Calhoun of the Los Angeles Angels. And in the National League, it's another Atlanta Brave taking home the hardware, Nick Markakis, winning a Gold Glove. He made his first career All-Star selection last summer, and I believe this was his first career Gold Glove as well. Runners-up were the Chicago Cubs, Jason Hayward, and the Arizona Cardinals. Sorry, that's the football team. Wrong sport, Owen. The Arizona Diamondbacks. Yes, Van laughs at me now. The Arizona Diamondbacks, John Jay. Wait a minute, I know why I got this confused. John Jay played for the Cardinals. At the beginning of the year, the St. Louis Cardinals, of course, not the Arizona Cardinals. And then he was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks in, I believe, April or May.
So if you were to incorrectly combine his two team names, I guess you would get the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, you would get the football team.
Or the St. Louis Diamondbacks, which don't even exist.
Don't even exist. So at least I named a team that existed. It was just the wrong sport.
I don't even think there are snakes in St. Louis.
Yeah, there probably aren't too many of those. So that will conclude the Gold Glove awards for the 2018 season, but the awards are far from over. Next week we've got a lot of awards that will be announced starting on Monday with the AL and NL Jackie Robinson Rookies of the Year. I'll announce the days that each award is set to be presented, and then we will give you the candidates as well as our predictions for the awards. The AL and NL Managers of the Year are set for Tuesday, November 13th. AL and NL Cy Young Awards are set for Wednesday, November 14th. And the AL and NL MVP Awards are set for Thursday, November 15th. So all of that goes down next week. So a lot of awards will be handed out next week. We'll probably talk about it more on our show a little bit next week, since only the Rookies of the Year and the Managers of the Year will have been announced by next Tuesday. So let's give you the candidates for each award. AL Most Valuable Player.
How about we do that one last? How about we start in order of when the awards will be announced? So, do you want to start in the AL or the NL?
I would have rather started with MVP, but that's okay. We will start with the Rookies of the Year.
I just think it makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. Not the way this article is formatted. It started with MVP. Now I've got to scroll down and find Rookie of the Year, which I have now found. The Rookies of the Year finalists: third baseman for the New York Yankees, Miguel Andujar. And another Yankee on the list is second baseman Gleyber Torres. So two rookie infielders for the Bronx Bombers make the finalists for the Rookie of the Year. And the other one has been compared to a former Yankee, Babe Ruth. It's Angels I almost said outfielder. I don't think he ever played the outfield. DH and right-handed pitcher Shohei Ohtani. Those are the three candidates for American League Rookie of the Year. In the National League, an interesting race. We've got Ronald Acuna Jr., an outfielder for the Atlanta Braves, right-handed pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Walker Buehler, and outfielder for the Washington Nationals, Juan Soto. So I'll start with you, Van. Who do you think takes home the award in each league?
I'm going to start in the National League because I have some interesting thoughts on the American League Award, which we'll get to in a second. I think you give the NL Rookie of the Year award to Walker Buehler of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know this is a regular season award, and he pitched really well in the postseason, but he'd been doing that all year long for the Los Angeles Dodgers. A 2.31 ERA, the best by a rookie since Jose Fernandez in 2013. I don't see how you could give the award to anybody else other than Walker Buehler. He was the best pitcher on a pitching staff that featured Clayton Kershaw. So I feel like that is enough said. The wins-loss record, 8-5. Nothing that really catches your eye, but for a rookie, that's good. The ERA was low. He did not get a whole lot of run support, but he did have 151 strikeouts in just over 130 innings. So the strikeout numbers were there too. So that is why I would fill out my ballot for Walker Buehler. Now in the American League, you named all the candidates. Shohei Ohtani, Gleyber Torres, Miguel Andujar. I think it's safe to say we all know the award is going to go to Shohei Ohtani.
No, I don't think so at all.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's a given conclusion that it goes to Ohtani at all.
Okay, because I would.
If you want my opinion, I think it's going to be Gleyber Torres, but I'll let you finish first.
So, I know we all think it's going to be Shohei Ohtani, except for Owen here,
Because it's not.
He's doing his own thing, but
No, I'm really not.
pitching and hitting, Shohei Ohtani could do it all. But the name that was left off this list,
Well, you have to pick from one of the 3 finalists.
that should have been on the list,
We're not talking about that. I said who's going to win, and it has to be one of the 3 finalists.
Joey Wendell of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Daniel Palka had a good season for the White Sox too, but he's not a finalist.
Okay, but Joey Wendell had a better WAR than Gleyber Torres and Miguel Andujar.
Okay, so
he should be on the list over Miguel Andujar. And the only reason Joey Wendell's not on this list is because he plays for such a small market, and only like 2 people got to see him every time he took the field at home.
that's true.
He played, 3 games in the Bronx all year?
Well, no, a lot more than that. He plays for the Rays.
You're right, he does. He played probably 10 games in the Bronx all year. Still, 10 games compared to Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres, who are on the big stage every single night in front of all the fans, celebrities, everybody. I don't see why Miguel Andujar is on this list. Yeah, he hit a lot of homers. Daniel Palka did too. And I need to look up Joey Wendell's stats actually real quick. So give me a minute. Why don't you go ahead and...
All right, I disagree with your Walker Buehler pick.
Okay.
First of all, it's going to be Ronaldo Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. He's only 20 years old. He had the 3rd highest OPS of anyone in the second half. He finished the season with 26 home runs, 16 stolen bases. This is a guy who I see as a legit 2020 guy. 20 stolen bases, 20 home runs in the future. And when the Braves put him in the leadoff spot, he was the catalyst for that offense in the second half that helped them run away with the NL East. It seemed like every night we were watching him hit leadoff home runs for the Braves. This kid is a very special player. He was an all-star this past year, so my NL Rookie of the Year vote goes to Ronaldo Acuna Jr. And in the American League, I'm going to give my vote to New York Yankees second baseman Gleyber Torres. He finished hitting .271 on the year with a .340 on-base percentage and a .480 slugging. He hit 24 home runs and finished the year with 16 doubles. So my vote goes to Gleyber Torres in the American League. Have you found Joey Wendell's stats yet?
Yes, I have.
All right, let's hear him. How many home runs did he hit? How many RBIs did he have? I want to know this stuff.
He hit 7 home runs and drove in 61 runs. He's not a power guy. He stole 16 bases while hitting 300. He had an OBP of 354. And the defense, very versatile. Second base, third base, left field, right field, shortstop. Anything Kevin Cash asked him to play, he did it. And he did it very well. Over 950 fielding percentage in total. He finished 8th in the entire American League in batting average. And he finished 8th in triples. And he finished 2nd in sacrifice flies. He knows good situational hitting. He can get the run in from third. He was a big part to why the Rays had success this year.
You know who had more success as a team, though? The New York Yankees.
You know who had more veterans to help him out? The Yankees. You know who spent more money? The Yankees. You know who more people watched? The Yankees.
Exactly why Gleyber Torres
That's why they're on the
is
list.
on this list.
But
Exactly why Gleyber Torres is going to win the award. Thank you for proving that point.
I'm just saying, Joey Wendell needs to be on the list. He needs to be recognized.
I agree with you.
Big market bias drives me crazy.
All right, we want to move
It might
on?
be worse than recency bias.
It might be worse than recency bias. Do we want to move down to the managers of the year?
Yes, we do.
All right, starting in the American League, Joey Wendell's manager, Kevin Cash. the Tampa Bay Rays manager, led the team to a 90-win year. He really started the opener strategy, the bullpenning, all started with Kevin Cash this year, and it worked. They were a very good team this year. They won 90 games. Would have won almost any other division in baseball except for the one they were in, unfortunately, for Kevin Cash and the Tampa Bay Rays. Our next manager is one who finished ahead of him. It's Red Sox manager Alex Cora. Led the team to a World Series, although this is a regular season award. That does not get factored in. A very successful season, nonetheless, for Alex Cora and the Boston Red Sox. The most successful season of anybody, actually, because they won the World Series. And third on the list is Oakland A's manager Bob Melvin, finding ways to win with the lowest payroll on opening day in all of baseball. And somehow he got the Oakland A's into the playoffs. Incredible. In the NL, it's excuse me, Colorado Rockies manager Bud Black.
Oh, and we're not doing worst manager. We're doing, this is supposed to be the best. Why is Bud Black?
I honestly don't know, to be honest. Bud Black is a finalist, though, for manager of the year. Some people think he's good. Next is the guy who I believe outmanaged him in the NLDS. It's Milwaukee Brewers manager Craig Counsell. He finished fourth last year, and this year with the Brewers winning the NLDS, they won the NLDS, but they also won the NL Central. Craig Counsell will appear as a finalist, as well as Atlanta Braves manager Brian Snedeker. So, Van, who do you think should win the manager of the year in each league?
In the American League, I'm pretty sure we're going to be in agreement on this, although I said that before and it didn't end up happening. I'm going to give it to Bob Melvin of the Oakland Athletics. Owen shakes his head. That's a good sign. The lowest payroll on opening day, and you get them to the wild card round to compete with the New York Yankees? Are you kidding me? What more could you ask of Bob Melvin? Not only did they have the lowest payroll, they're a fairly young team still. And what Bob Melvin did was probably his most impressive managerial feat yet. I would call it more impressive than the 2012 A's run that he had. So that is why I would give it to him. Alex Cora, great. You had 106 wins, regular season or whatever. 108 wins, excuse me, but good job. I could probably get you the Red Sox to 100 wins with me managing the team. Because they have so much talent and they spend so much money. And you can win in the regular season by spending a lot of money. You can't win in the postseason, so it's impressive what he was able to do in the postseason nonetheless. But it's a regular season award. And Kevin Cash, I commend you for all your efforts. You did a good job. But did you have the lowest payroll? No, I don't think so. And did you make the playoffs? No, I don't think so.
Only because they play in the AL East, it's worth noting, but...
Okay, that's true. Good point. Fair point. They could have definitely competed in the American League Central or West.
Oh, they would have won the Central running away.
Yeah.
I think.
In the NL Manager of the Year, I'm going to give it to Brian Snedeker of the Atlanta Braves. Now, if this were a postseason award, hands down, I would give it to Craig Counsell. I think Craig Counsell has a few of these awards in his future. I think he has turned into a great manager for the Brewers, really innovative. I like all the stuff he's doing. But no one expected the Braves to compete this year. And they brought up a lot of the young talent. He got them to mesh well. He got the chemistry up in that locker room. He had the Braves believing that they could win ball games, and they did all year long. I continually doubted the Braves team at the trade deadline. I said they didn't do enough. The Phillies are more experienced. The Phillies are built to do this. The Nationals have been there before. They've done that. Even in August, we had 1 month to go, and the Braves were still on top. Oh, the Phillies can come back. Hey, maybe even the Nationals can come back. We've seen crazier things happen. No. Snedeker had the Braves ball club playing well all year. So I will give the award to Snedeker and the Atlanta Braves. What about you, Owen?
I 100% agree with everything you just said. You were spot on with the Bob Melvin of the Oakland A's and Brian Snedeker of the Atlanta Braves. And for that reason, we'll move to our next award.
What do you think about Bud Black being on this list?
Oh my goodness, I don't know how he got on this list, to be honest. The problem with Bud Black is everybody looked at the pitching and sort of give him all the credit for this pitching. And while he deserved a lot of credit for coaching these guys, a lot of the credit I think has to go to Jeff Friedrich and his team of analytics. So interesting. I just said team of analytics. Team of front office staff that uses a lot of analytics and have spent the past 5 or 6 years focusing in the drafting and developing starting pitchers.
You've spent all your resources the past 5 years on developing and finding starting pitchers. I'd hope you'd be good at it by this point.
I would too, and
that's my take.
And so people outside of Colorado and even people in Colorado think Bud Black looks like a genius for this. I think he gets a lot more credit than maybe he deserves. And if you look at how he's managed the lineup, the Rockies' offense this year was one of the worst in club history. He continues to play veterans
Ian Desmond
over young players, not giving Ryan McMahon a chance. I don't know why he wasn't an everyday player down the stretch. I also don't know why David Dahl wasn't an everyday player down the stretch. Yes, Van, go ahead.
I think where Bud Black deserves a little credit is with some of the veteran starting pitchers. Chad Bettis, Tyler Anderson. Walt Weiss was never able to get them to... Well, I mean, they pitched well, but not to this level. We haven't seen this level of pitching at Coors Field ever, but what Bud Black has done with the veterans, I think, has been really good. And I think he's done a good job with the starters. Just some of his managerial moves in-game haven't been the best, and lineup decisions haven't been.
Continue. Why Ian Desmond started the most games of anybody on the Colorado Rockies this year is absurd, considering he was by far the worst hitter probably in all of baseball. I do not care what the stats say. They might tell you otherwise, but don't believe them. They could be lying to you. Ian Desmond has to be the worst hitter probably in the major leagues right now. And why Ryan McMahon wasn't starting over him, I have no idea. I will hop off my soapbox and the Ian Desmond rant. That's enough talking about him for today. We will move to the Cy Young Award starting in the American League. It's the Klubot. Corey Kluber of the Cleveland Indians. He won the Cy Young in 2014 and 2017. He's a finalist for a third straight year. He won 20 games, something he's never done before until this year, and he led the league in innings pitched. Next is Tampa Bay Rays left-handed pitcher Blake Snell, who somehow was not an all-star despite having the lowest ERA in baseball at the time. And actually, he still finished with the lowest ERA, 1.89, a tremendous year turned in this year by Blake Snell. And the third finalist is Astros right-handed pitcher Justin Verlander. Obviously had a number of great years in Detroit and has continued that success since coming over in a trade from the Tigers last August. Has been nothing short of spectacular for the Houston Astros. And in the National League, we've got Mets right-handed pitcher Jacob deGrom, who some thought should be in the MVP conversation. But he was not. He was in the Cy Young conversation as he should be. Next is Nationals right-handed pitcher Max Scherzer. He's won 2 straight National League Cy Youngs. He's won 4. Actually, he's won 3 overall. He won 1 in the American League with the Detroit Tigers. And the third finalist for the NL Cy Young is right-handed pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies is Aaron Nola. I sort of have a problem with him being a finalist. I'll tell you why in a minute. But first, Van, who are your picks for the NL Cy Young and AL Cy Young for that matter too.
For the American League Cy Young, I will give the award to Blake Snell. The leader in wins, a 1.89 ERA, 180 innings pitched, a 219 ERA plus.
If Blake Snell does not win the AL Cy Young, we protest. Bring out the pitchforks. I'm kidding, of course, but if Blake Snell does not win this award, oh man, there's going to be an uproar in Tampa Bay. Maybe all three of their fans will go to the stadium.
I'll join them, though.
We will join them. Blake Snell, one of, if not the best season in all of baseball this year.
Your pitcher is supposed to go out there and win games. I don't care what else happens. Give your team a chance.
And he did just that every single time he towed the rubber this past summer for the Tampa Bay Rays. And a big reason for their team's success this year, when they weren't pitching bullpen pitchers to open the game, they were pitching Blake Snell. Both strategies worked out very well for the Tampa Bay Rays and Kevin Cash. So who do you have winning it in the National League, and why?
In the National League, I'm going to give it to Max Scherzer.
Wow, not Jacob deGrom?
No, you have to win games. I just said that.
Okay.
That would be contradicting what I just said.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it to Max. Mad Max, however it said. He had a .91 whip, which tied Jacob deGrom for the lead. He pitched 220 innings. He finished third with a 2.53 ERA, which I'm not too concerned about. It was still phenomenal. And he had 18 wins on a Nationals ball club that didn't have that many wins, that underperformed by a lot. 300 strikeouts as well was very, very impressive. That's why I'll give it to Max Scherzer. I think you have other ideas with this award, but
I would love to give the National League Cy Young Award to Kyle Freeland. Wait, what do you mean he's not a finalist? Wow, that's terrible. If you look at the stats, compare Kyle Freeland to Aaron Nola, they're very close. Aaron Nola has a slight edge in some statistical categories, but he does not pitch at Coors Field. Kyle Freeland is very similar statistically this past year to Aaron Nola, and Kyle Freeland pitches half his games at Coors Field, and actually, he was better at Coors Field this year than he was on the road. But I thought they couldn't pitch at Coors Field. Interesting how the narrative changes when they are talking about pitchers versus Colorado Rockies hitters. I'm just saying, give Kyle Freeland some credit. He should be a top 3 finalist. In my opinion, he should finish third behind 1 Jacob deGrom and 2 Max Scherzer. I know Van just
You know what Kyle Freeland does that Jacob deGrom didn't do this year?
He won a lot of games.
He won a lot of games.
He also had a much better team behind him than Jacob deGrom did.
That's fair.
Jacob deGrom had a 1.70 ERA, which was the best in the NL, by the way. Better than Max Scherzer, better than Aaron Nola, better than Kyle Freeland, better than all the other pitchers in the National League. He had 18 starts in which he went 6 innings and allowed 0 earned runs. And he set a record with 29 straight starts allowing 3 runs or fewer. If that doesn't give you a chance to win, wait, that didn't make sense. If that doesn't give your team a chance to win every single time, then I don't know what does. Because Jacob deGrom
probably giving up 0 runs and having your team.
It's not his fault when he gives up 1 run and gets the loss because he pitches a 1-0 shut. Because the Mets offense could shut out.
He needs to pitch better. He needs to give it.
How can he pitch better? What do you want to do? 29 straight starts of 3 earned runs.
No base runners.
So you wanted to just throw a perfect game every time?
Yes, every time. That's what he's going to need to do.
That's very unrealistic and very unfair to Jacob deGrom. We should not penalize him.
Also, the Mets going to win games.
Get an offense.
Maybe the current offense can just play better.
Maybe they should call up Tim Tebow.
Oh, now you're thinking.
The daily or weekly Tim Tebow reference on the show. What would a show be without talking about Tim Tebow?
It would not be a show.
Anyways, I think Jacob deGrom will take home the award. You think it's Max Scherzer?
I want a pitcher that can win me a ball game.
Jacob deGrom can win you the ball game.
Half the time. Less than
That's
half
not
the
his
time.
fault. Wins are very much out of his control. He was competing every single time he towed the rubber. If you allow 3 runs or less in 6 innings, that's giving your team a chance to win the baseball game. And Jacob deGrom did just that.
Score.
It's not his fault. Jacob deGrom can't do everything for the team.
He can hit. He's in the National League.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he needs to practice.
They need Bartolo Colon back.
They could put Bartolo Colon and Jacob deGrom in the same off-season hitting program and then in the same lineup in the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Then they'd score some runs.
Yeah, maybe. Tim Tebow 3, Bartolo Colon 4, Jacob deGrom 5. Wow.
What a lineup.
What a lineup he
It would strike fear into the opposing pitchers.
It would.
Max Scherzer, he wouldn't be able to handle it,
Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't. Anyways, that will just about wrap it up, I think. We can talk more about this next week, this Cy Young debate, because it's not going to be announced until Wednesday.
Oh, good.
So you can plan your argument. We could have a big debate next week, maybe.
We should get Jake Circus.
Yeah, he likes to talk about this stuff. Jacob deGrom. He's very passionate about this, let me tell you. Anyways, that will do it for this week's episode. We will be back hopefully on the same night, or not the same night, different night. Next week we will hope to be back on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Mountain, 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 Pacific. But in the meantime, we would like to thank you for listening to this edition of Extra Innings whenever and however you have tuned us in. Have a good night and a good week until we talk to you guys next time.